Even with the aggressive V-shaped recovery that we have seen out of the market over the last couple of weeks, there is still a lot of opportunity to take advantage of going into the end of this year. Now, I outlined this thesis for you guys in yesterday's YouTube video, so if you missed that one, make sure you guys go check that one out. But in this video here, we're going to be going over 5 really strong names that you could take advantage of going into the next couple of quarters here. We're going to outline some of the most relevant pieces of news and why these stocks are looking very strong on the charts right now. Now, for those of you guys that are short on time, I'm just going to tell you what these names are: AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, MicroStrategy, SoFi, Novo Nordisk, and Lululemon. But again, please don't just go out and randomly buy stocks just based on what some YouTuber says. Make sure you're doing your own research and pay attention to all of the different points that we make in these videos here so that you can make the best, most well-informed decision. So guys, before we get into all of that information, again, if you guys do enjoy these videos, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you guys are subscribed, turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos do end up going live. And also, gotta remind you guys, probably the most epic sale that I will ever do is still going on for the Less Trades, More Profits private trading and investing community. You guys have been absolutely crushing it in there. Again, use code MAY with the link down below if you guys want 50% off, not just your first month, your first 2 months. It literally comes out to $1 a day. Again, you guys get access to both full-length educational courses, the private daily live streams, the full watch list of stocks and cryptos that are about to explode before they do, the macro research reports, the pre-market plans, the single stock research reports, the weekly market review research reports. Again, guys, there is so much value in there. If you guys would like to join an amazing group of traders and investors taking advantage of the market every single day, we'd love to have you in there. But let's get into everything here, team. The first thing that I want to discuss with you guys is just how the broad market is looking right now. Right now, we're looking at the chart of the S&P 500 Futures ES. And as you guys all know, with what we were talking about over the last couple of weeks here with this liberation zone, I said it was going to be very difficult to get above this zone unless we receive some very positive news. Now, that came in the form of positive developments with these trade talks. We traded up into this zone here, ended up breaking back above it, but I would say at this point now, the market is going to be waiting for more positive news, whether that comes from the macroeconomic data side or further developments with China, the United Kingdom, Europe, or any other significant trade deals that the market wants to hear about. And until then, I do think it's possible that we see a little short-term pullback here, maybe to approximately 58.75 to about 58.55 here on ES before we get that next round of positive news, potentially sending us up even higher here. So again, that short-term pullback is definitely not going to be a bad thing, and it would be healthy for the market at this current time to pull back a little bit, cool off, and get ready for that next leg higher. So let's talk about the first ticker that we absolutely need to cover here, and that is going to be AMD Advanced Micro Devices. Now, for those of you guys that know me, that have been in the private community, or that have been watching this channel over the last couple of years here, you guys know I love this name. I own AMD at $11.39. Guys, I know I look young. I'm going to be 26 this month. I'm getting old, honestly, but I've been operating and learning about markets since I was 14 years old here, learning from some of the most successful financial professionals in the world. This is one of the first stocks that I ever bought at $11.39 and only started selling last year when we saw that massive move up. Now, with AMD right now, you can see very clearly here on the weekly time frame that we have a very clear weekly downtrend. If you were to draw a little bit of a trend line on this move here, all the way back up, again, it's not going to be perfect, but it is very clear that we are breaking out of this strong downtrend that we have been in. And AMD, again, with this AI craze, the chip craze, could easily see some continued upside movement in the short term to about 130. And we also have Bank of America here today too. Bank of America has increased its price target for AMD from 120 to 130, maintaining a buy rating for the stock, which again is going to align right around with that level here on the weekly time frame. Now, again, yesterday saw some very positive news for AMD as well. So yesterday, as many of you guys had seen, AMD jumps on $10 billion Saudi AI partnership. Lisa Su says the partnership advances global AI infrastructure by marrying AMD's open architecture gear with Humane's local ecosystem, while Humane's CEO Tariq Amin calls it democratizing AI at the compute level, basically putting next-gen performance in more hands. And this follows Humane's own $5 billion AWS tie-up from earlier on Tuesday, showing Saudi Arabia's serious push to localize cloud and AI services. That $10 billion commitment bulks up AMD's data center backlog and highlights how tech geopolitics are reshaping growth opportunities. And in addition, this morning, AMD announces a new $6 billion share buyback plan. Now, for those of you guys that are unfamiliar with these share buyback plans, again, what this is going to do is decrease the available supply out in the market because, again, the company as a whole is going to go out and buy these shares and they're not going to be trading on the open market anymore. And it also, again, can create some more demand for AMD in the short term when the company actually goes out and decides to buy these shares back. So again, that is one of the reasons why AMD is seeing such aggressive price movement to the upside today, up about 5%. And with the overall macro landscape that we have, getting AI and these new developments in the artificial intelligence space in the hands of more people, I don't think this move on AMD is going to be over anytime soon. Now, the next name that I want to talk about with you guys here is going to be MicroStrategy. And you can't talk about MicroStrategy without mentioning Bitcoin, obviously. And as you guys all know, if you guys have been following me on Twitter, I did outline this move to the upside for you guys into this prior all-time high zone on Bitcoin. And there were really two options of what could play out next with Bitcoin once we got to these areas here. You could either see this break and retest of this zone and start to move to the downside, or what you were going to see was a move up above these strategic crypto reserve highs, which we did end up seeing, and then a retest of this zone before moving to the upside. Now, for those of you guys that are in the Less Trades More Profits community, again, this is a textbook A+ bullish setup here on Bitcoin, consolidating after a significant move to the upside, and again, right under these prior all-time highs. If Bitcoin does end up getting this breakout here, again, you can also see on MicroStrategy's chart here, we have a very, very similar setup with a lot of potential upside. Now, in terms of this move here, this is most likely going to be a little bit of a more short-term move. This could be a kind of a short-term trade or even a medium-term trade for those of you guys that are looking to initiate a position in MicroStrategy. But again, as market participants, we want to be aware of all of the potential opportunities that are out there in any given sector. Now, next one up on the list is going to be Lululemon. Now, this is one that I was outlining for the private trading and investing community right around this 270 area here as a really strong opportunity to buy. And even though that this one is now trading at around 317, I still think that this one has a lot of opportunity going into the end of this year and beyond for a couple of reasons. But what I want to just kind of outline for you guys here is I do think that Lulu is due for a little bit of a pullback here. It is getting right towards that 200 exponential moving average on the daily, but I do think that if it does end up pulling back, letting this 10 exponential moving average catch up to current price, that could serve as a really strong buying opportunity. Now, what I want you guys to take a look at here is Lululemon's revenues going over kind of the last couple of quarters here. Just looking at this on a trailing 12-month basis, their revenues have been steadily moving to the upside here. Now, what they did in their last quarter here is they did lower their guidance, really citing a lot of these geopolitical and macroeconomic factors. Again, the company is facing a dynamic macro environment contributing to a more cautious consumer and slower traffic in the US. Lululemon expects a decrease in operating margin by approximately 100 basis points in 2025 due to foreign exchange headwinds and increased tariffs. The company anticipates a 60 basis point decrease in gross margins for the full year of 2025, driven by deleverage on fixed costs and foreign exchange headwinds. Now, The problem with this here, and the I would say the not necessarily issue with them coming out with this, is that we have all seen a much more positive stance from this new administration as it relates to tariffs and trade policy and overall economic growth over the last couple of weeks here. So a lot of these fears that Lululemon was having back on their earnings release in kind of the end of March and going into April, well, those fears, a lot of them have really subsided at this current time. Now, the other thing that Lulu cites in here is a more cautious consumer. And while that may be true, and we are seeing this reflected in the consumer sentiment data, again, these are data points that we talk about a lot. Consumer sentiment has been moving down to those low levels that we haven't seen since 2022. Well, there's a big difference right now between what consumers are saying in terms of their feelings about the overall economy and what they are actually doing. If you take a look at retail sales here, since January, retail sales have been on a steady increase. Now, while that could be the result of people and individuals and consumers as a whole trying to go out and front run a lot of these potential inflationary effects of these tariffs here, well, when consumers again start to feel more confident about the economy going into, let's say, the next couple of quarters here, especially with the market significantly rebounding off of these lows, well, their spending rates could easily stay the same, and Lululemon may not actually witness that decrease in their margins that they were actually forecasting in the first quarter of this year here, which actually creates a pretty significant opportunity for them to beat market expectations on their earnings going into the next couple of quarters. And this is exactly why when we came into Monday's trading day, after those developments with China were announced, Lululemon was up about 8% as investors started to realize, oh, the negative effects of these tariffs and this new trade policy are probably going to be a lot less than what the market was expecting before. Okay, so let's get into this next one here, and that is Novo Nordisk. Now, as you can see, this name has been aggressively beat down by the market really since the middle of last year, and in my opinion, very, very unfairly. When you take a look at Novo Nordisk's revenues, really since 2022 here, they have absolutely skyrocketed with, again, the increased sales of their GLP-1 products here, Ozempic and Wegovy, with the potential for these oral GLP-1s to be coming out in the near future. Now, for me personally, I don't think there's a very strong argument right now that after all of that significant revenue growth, that Novo Nordisk should be trading at approximately the same levels it was at in 2022 before all of this revenue growth. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think the market is missing something pretty significant here with Novo Nordisk. Again, they are growing their revenues, they are continuously developing new products, and I don't think this one is going anywhere anytime soon, and at these levels here is still, in my opinion, a very strong buying opportunity for the long term. And Novo here as well is the most recent addition to the single stock research report section in the private community. I believe it's about a 6 to 8 page research report, breaking this one down in a little bit more depth for you guys. Again, not trying to sell you on the community there. You guys can join, you can not join. It is a pretty good deal though, if I do say so myself. But it just letting you guys know that if you guys want more information on this one, it is available to you within the community there. Now, I do want to talk about SoFi as being the last name on this list here. Again, I think this one has a lot of potential over the next couple of years here for one very specific reason that I want to talk about in this video. Again, I could do a whole big research report on SoFi here, but the video would be like 45 minutes to an hour long. Again, looking at this chart here on SoFi, I did outline for you guys this post-earnings consolidation move here that we could potentially get up to this 1450 area, but we really needed to get through this area in order to see the upper 14s, and again, potentially getting up to that 17 area. And with the market pulling back a little bit here, consolidating a little bit at these higher levels, again, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for something like SoFi to go absolutely vertical here in the really, really short term. But what I will say is that I think right now the market is significantly overlooking SoFi getting back into crypto. Now, again, we can see this here. SoFi CEO says fintech bank is bringing back crypto investing, but if you listen to a couple of the interviews with Anthony Noto, it's not just the ability to buy and sell crypto. They are offering a whole suite of products along with the ability to invest in crypto, and they are working day and night. Those are the words that are coming from his mouth to get this back out to consumers in the near future. Now, the other thing that adding crypto back to SoFi's suite of offerings that it has is it enables it to grow users even more here. Again, when you take a look at their members, we just hit about 10.9 million users on the SoFi platform, as stated in their most recent earnings report. That is most likely over 11 million users now. And in addition to this, another thing that could also drive more user growth is they are adding the ability for options trading. What I've seen right now is just level 1 options, but when level 2 options starts to come out, again, that is the buying and selling of calls and puts, that could again drive more user growth to SoFi. So guys, that is going to wrap up this video here. If you guys did enjoy the information and analysis I provided for you guys in this one, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss another video like this. But until next time, guys, I will see you. Peace.